Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Jack Devine. Welcome back to my studio. And oh shit, my guitar's over here. Doing another office hours here before I take off for a little bit, and I figured I would check in with everybody and see what's going on. So, hope everybody's doing well. Apparently, we have another heat wave heading our way, and that is never a good thing here. Let's see if I can get a little bit more of a downward angle on this camera shot. All right, good. Hey Tim, how's it going, fishy fish? I see everybody, I see a couple of guys here. How's it going, Greg? I figured I'd start on the acoustic here and try to talk some sense into you folks about some right hand discipline. These are things that I'm not the world's greatest flat picker or anything like that. I'm glad everybody's doing well. Can everybody hear the guitar all right? Is that working? Talk a little bit about how acoustic guitar playing drifted into probably being the most influential element of my right hand picking discipline. And it all stemmed from trying to learn how to play Wildwood Flower and some other bluegrass staples. All right, if you're unfamiliar with Wildwood Flower, there is a lesson on my page. If you look up Jacksnax Wildwood Flower, there's a couple of lessons. But basically, it's a traditional song. It's written by the Carter, I guess it was Mother Maybelle Carter wrote it. Kind of stuff, you know, in particular the right hand picking patterns of going like this kind of Norman Blake kind of comping. So when you're playing with somebody and they're going like something like that, you want to be able to do simple things like kind of discipline really stems from this one little move, okay? It's playing 1, 2, 3. That's down, up, down. At the 12th fret, I'm doing harmonics. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. Okay, and by utilizing that, you're playing 3, 3, 2. So that's 6 plus 2 is 8 notes in the bar. So we can now stretch across chords and go. And that's basically a C chord to a G chord. And you'll notice that I'm kind of moving my whole hand, but my arm is moving too, so that blood can kind of come in and out of here. If we pin our wrist on there, not only do we deaden the top, you'll notice that I'm also perching the guitar a little bit so that my gut doesn't touch the back of the guitar. If you hear, you know, guys that have got their gut on the back of an acoustic guitar, and it's like this, versus, all right, you basically are putting a big muffle on the back of the drum. This box is effectively a drum, right? Same with your arm. You drape your arm over top versus, watch, get used to this sound. Now watch what happens when I move. Lots more low end, okay? So a lot more free sound. You don't want to pin your arm down here too much, okay? But so I was going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then going and forming a G chord, but there's no reason to really do anything because I'm only hitting open strings. And this little discipline for hours. All right, then you should all do it from the top string, the B, down to the D. So in that Wildwood Flower arrangement, which I think is derived from a Clarence White type of thing, that kind of thing, we're doing like a boom, 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 boom. Well, Greg, I'm not saying if you have a gut, you know, that's gonna, you know, if you're a bigger guy, then you know you're gonna have some issues. But try not to rub it up against the whole, you know, you can lay it at a bit of an angle and hopefully you can get away from that. So we're going like a little chromatic walk up. Okay, that's what we're trying to do, but we're gonna fill it in. All right, that's the top part of a C chord. That's just literally pressing down one button, not one button, one fret. Coming in with the 6th, the A. All right, then we're gonna go, and then what does it feel? Nice and smooth, nice and flowing, all right? And once you get that Norman Blake kind of like, I'm easing down a river kind of cool, easy breezy kind of vibe, that's when the fun can start, all right? So now we can start looking at other songs, like what's that other one I like? Ohio, I think that one's called, right? And that one has some other good stuff, you know, or kind of ragtime tunes, right? Anyway, you start to figure out that, boy, oh boy, does that sure help beef up the little drummer boy that has to live inside each and every one of our right hands, okay? So getting that thing together, you know, it's really, really super helpful, all right? Now, you might not always be able to use it on an electric guitar because it doesn't like to be, you know, it doesn't want to be strummed, but boy, I'm telling you, being able to go through and play arpeggios and being able to pick each note nice and clean like that, super helpful. And this is a nice musical way to learn how to do it. And in particular, you know, it is wonderful to be able to actually hold your own on an acoustic guitar without an amplifier, without any of the bells and whistles of Mr. Fancy Pants Kemper rig, or, you know, distortion or delay or any of that stuff. So, you know, I was just kind of hanging out today, playing a little guitar and having fun on the couch, and just kind of doing this and trancing out a little bit, just practicing. Right, something like that. Anyway, if anybody has any questions about how that kind of stuff works, you should definitely take a deep dive into, go get your acoustic guitar and just figure out how to get that right hand picking pattern together. All right, and basically just play any song that you can think of that utilizes that. Right? Comes in really handy. All right, so anyway, that's just some acoustic noodling and stuff like that. I thought maybe I would start things out with, because normally we're focused on the electric guitar a little bit more. And as of late, I've been kind of doing a little guitar comparison between this Burst 335 and this Red 335, which you guys have probably seen me with both these guitars over the years. And the news is out. This one here has significantly hotter pickups. It's kind of a nice thing to be aware of. I always knew it, but I went back just to verify that it was in fact the case. And I thought that maybe what we could do is start out by talking about something that's become more and more apparent to me. And that's the power and the need for really the aggressive use of vibrato as a way of conveying authority. I watched a few of my favorite players, who I'm not going to mention, kind of do a little head cutting thing the other day on TV, or not on TV, on YouTube. And I just noticed how one of the guys had this vibrato that just wasn't cutting it compared to the other dude. And I mean, the other guy, one of them was much more shreddy and like much more together in terms of picking speed and all that stuff. But when it came time for the other guy to play, he just got mowed down. He got mowed down by fewer notes with greater intensity. And I just started realizing, like, there really is something to that whole B.B. King approach of playing less but getting more power by virtue of your different vibrato types. So if you're not really aware of what types of vibrato you're using, all right, you should definitely take a little time to get used to that. Oh, hey, I just realized something. My guitar's going to keep singing every time I play a G note. It's going to go bonkers here. Yeah. There we go. We won't hear that again. Sorry about that, folks. Anyway, so this kind of technique, right? We probably are all familiar with the hummingbird. You know, this kind of vibrato. Singing tone, all right, is achieved by creating a fulcrum with the index finger's first knuckle, all right, and then kind of pivoting the entire wrist down, okay? It's not done from the fingertips, okay? Any vibrato that you try to do from your fingertips, in my opinion, is going to be inferior and fatiguing, not only to the listener, who I think will find most of it a little too narrow and a little nervous sounding. And this last one here I refer to is Clapton style, but I often jokingly call it the Mamma Mia. Okay? This one is significantly harder. It's a fully floating vibrato. The hand isn't anchored in forming a pivot anywhere. We're actually freely, where the thumb is detached from the back of the neck. All right, and this is obviously a more advanced move in that you have have to practice this one a little bit more, I think, and it's a must have because you can't do the downward pulling one on the high E. You'll get a free, we can't have that, right? So you can go here. But once you're here, you're going to have to learn how to do that. Now, obviously, the lower you go, the tenser the string is going to get. It's going to feel tight. So start practicing up here. All right, so we can call that the clap-in, for lack of a better word. All right, and then last but not least, we can combine bends and both of those. So we can bend, well, we can't really do the hummingbird, but we can bend and release the tone a little bit. Okay, that's adding vibrato to a bent note. All right, and we can do that, or we can actually get a little bit more intensity by bending up and then floating the bent note and doing a bent clap then. To me, that's the most intense vibrato I have in my quiver, for sure. All right. So, on the high E coming up, maybe to the C sharp, I'll be more likely to thumb over and do that. But boy, on the E here, definitely do that. Okay. So you might want to consider spending some good hard time practicing just your vibrato and leaning into that, like maybe 10 or 15 minutes for a little practice to see whether or not what you've got going is really cutting it, because it might not be. You'd be shocked at how let's say we were just kind of going. That please you as much as this or this. Up here versus, to me that's more intense, right? So anyway, these are again things that dawn on me every time I sit down and play the guitar. I'm like, Jesus, I thought I had that shit under control, and it turns out So the next move is obviously to figure out how to do the same vibrato technique with inviting a friend to the party. Right? There's that. Or this. Right? So so that was with the index finger solo. A little bit of back up with the index finger. Here. Yeah, there is a use for, you mean this? Yeah, there is a use for that type of vibrato. Somebody put a question up. Any use for violin type vibrato? Yeah, I don't think you'll be looking for it particularly, to be honest with you. The subtleties of how vibrato work can be examined if you plug an inline tuner in, like a Boss TU2, okay? Or anything that'll allow signal to pass but still measure the tune. You'll notice that if you come up here and hit this G note and bend, not bend, but give it the good old clap, then you're starting at G and you're pushing up, okay? But if you go back and forth, you're actually going flat, flat in tune, flat in tune, flat. You're not ever going sharp of the pitch, and that's a nice thing to know, but not really a great sound, in my opinion. That sounds less compelling and less compelling than it certainly lacks the intensity. Okay, so. Right, that's mixing the side to side versus the clap in at the end, right? This just doesn't have enough amplitude, in my opinion, to really be convincing. I do use it sometimes when I'm emulating a sorry if we lost audio there, a mild amount of wiggle for a lap steel or something like that. So, you know, like that kind of thing. Pardon me, my sister-in-law was calling me back. I left a message. So I think on one of my so instead of doing like, so I think I did instead of I did that, emulating the Lindley pedal steel solo. That or you tell me which one you like more. I mean, they're kind of, I mean, there is a difference, right? But it's a real subtle inside baseball kind of thing between guitar nerds, for sure, okay? All right, I think John Mayer has a really dynamite floating vibrato. Right? Now, one of the things that's a big part of it working or not working is the muting, right? Because when we do this, we have the ability to kind of brush through and then pivot the muting over to the right hand, right? But when we do this, that's the only thing we have. We don't have that after we let go. So we have to really kind of, you can tuck your ring finger under here. So tucking your middle finger onto the high E string while you wiggle can help keep down the ancillary, like adjacent noise type of stuff. And you definitely want to try to bury your palm into the wound string, regardless of which vibrato technique you're doing, okay? So you can rake and then get into that, but make sure you kind of, I use what I call the chop and the flop technique of having double muting on the low string. You tell me what you like. I don't know. All right. Anybody got any questions that pertains to repertoire or lessons that they have studied or things that they're working on and are not being successful with? If you do, great. If not, you know, I figured I would check in here because I am taking off for the next 3 weeks. No guitars for me for 3 weeks. Hi. Having trouble with Mississippi half-step solo, especially the B7 and E7 and other seventh chords. Yes, I absolutely have some time. So that's... is that Lou's guitar? So let's get rid of the dirt here, and we'll do. Let's do it like that. So that would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, we got to get a longer loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here, this B7 to E, and then two, three, 4. All right. So the way that we want to look at those descending chords, right? Basically, all we want to do is let's peacefully outline them. What's okay? Right? Let's just keep the 5 and the 3. Okay, into a D7 sound. Okay, so that part shouldn't be too hard for us to think about. All right. F, D minor, shit, that's a. Okay, so the B and E. All right, what I wanted, the trick that I like to utilize is playing the B with its 3rd, 5th, and flat 7, and then going flat 2, 3, 5. All right, just right, you'll see. So those are little kind of pseudo diminished shapes, and you'll see how this can work out nicely. Right there is a good example of what happened there. I went B, and then went okay, so I use this kind of diminished harmonic minor sound, okay? They're both kind of interconnected, okay? So the way that you want to envision that B7 chord is like a B, where you're playing the 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and then rather than coming up and hitting the root again, which you could, okay? What you just don't want to do is hit this C sharp note over top of that B7 sound. No, you want, or just play it strict blues like that. Well, yeah. But I kind of like that moment of exotic kind of Django sound, right? So if we're doing same idea. That's how I like to approach that B chord. You could also do it right here and play right into that. Okay, so that would be B harmonic minor. No. E harmonic minor. And then into F diminished. Those two modes would sound dynamite over top of that. So let's think about that. 1, 2, 3. Right, so that's that. That would have been even better. Sorry, I keep fucking around on the other chord changes. Right here. that same harmonic minor sound over the second chord on that descending A minor, line cliche, if I'm not mistaken. Right there. Like that, okay? So. On the way up to the A minor from the E, when you're doing on my way, right over that E chord, you can play like that. So we could do that over top of that E7 sound. 1, 2, 3. Sorry. But that's about right, I think, in terms of those seventh chords. So we're top of that B7. Don't just think like, well, you could think just pure 7, but just avoid that C sharp. Don't go, that's into there. That's not going to sound good over that kind of, when B is functioning as a secondary dominant there. It's not a great sound in my opinion. And then because E is functioning as the 5 in a minor song, right? Right, that's what opens up the possibility for using the diminished and harmonic minor over top of that E chord that second time through. Right, and then into, sorry. Does that make sense to you, Lou's guitar? Or is that too kind of highbrow? I mean, one of the things you can, I don't know what your playing experience level is here, so I don't mean to go straight to the, kind of advanced answer there, but that is what I would do, all right? So, I guess we can add a little bit more sauce here. Anything working? Gotcha. This is good stuff. Thanks. I have a lot to work on. Yeah, it is a little Django stuff for sure. But so some other ideas that you can look at that aren't going to be quite as well. I guess that's not such a bad thing to be some Django stuff, right? Whenever you see an E7 chord that you're interested in creating that kind of effect, you can use this little trick here. Right, or you could put this F note here, up here. You can get the way he would play that kind of thing would have been with 2 fingers instead of, right? I like that because it allows the right hand picking to sweep. Down, down, up, down, up, down. Slipknot stuff. But you can also do it here. Sorry. So the way to think about that is to look at the root 3, 5, 3, 5, and after every note, with the exception of the root, add a minor third. So root 3 plus a minor third, flat 7, add a minor third. I think I referred to this as the 5 in error in my explanation 2 seconds ago. Don't think of it's the 5, that's the flat 7. So root 3, flat 7, 3, flat 7. So you're going to go root 3, find the 5 as a minor third above, then play the flat 7 and go a minor third up, and you get that flat 2 sound. So that we're just doing that instead of, but this is helpful because it gets you further up the neck. All right, so that's E minor, A, right? So that's the sound of the harmonic minor and the diminished sounds that live within it. For Scarlet Begonias, my focus on the major pentatonic and the thirds. No, that's one of the songs that I definitely think more modally on. So let's take a look at that. All right, so if we do, clean that up, go here, go that, what we got? I know I have a Scarlet patch here somewhere. I don't really give a shit, I guess. It doesn't really matter, but it is nice when things are roughly aligned to the gain levels that I would want. All right, I don't see it here. That sucks. All right, well, we're just gonna have to fucking wing it there. Okay, so let's just do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's take it on the E. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like it loops through. Okay, so what I do when I'm playing over this is I definitely think 3 different concepts. One is the simplest one, and that's what to do over the melody. All right, over the verse, over the E to B. Okay, so that's usually. Section, that's the hardest part, all right? And that's the part where you're gonna have to do what I call the build, right? And that's gonna be things like that, where you figure out in advance a few little lines that will outline the A to E to B. So that's A, that was A, E, B, A, E, B. Then a build. And back to the melody. Did Jerry ever use plate reverb? I'm sure there's a ton of plate reverb all over those any recordings they're making. There's no plate reverb in his amp, and goodness knows what Healy was doing at the board. I wouldn't say that I'm an authority on any of those kinds of questions. There are people that are far more obsessive about it. I'm not particularly attracted to the sound of the boingy spring reverb myself. I do tend to prefer a plate reverb and use it largely. So right now I think I have a modulated plate reverb happening here. Okay, So if we're looking at that first little section here, to get back for you to Alexander, okay? There's a couple of other little shapes you want to know. You want to go and play your melody the first time probably out of the E note. All right, and then maybe up here you could go again. And stay in this little area. Now the trick to playing Scarlet, okay? Oh yeah, we can talk about the B mixolydian bills for sure. But let's talk a quick second about how you treat that A chord, okay? Do not approach the A like A major. No D, right? There's no D. Okay, so when you're coming into that little area, you want the fingerings of E major, right? Which has the D sharp in it. Okay, so the notes of E major over top of the entire thing, it's entirely A Lydian over the A chord or A mixolydian, A major pentatonic flat 3. Now you asked whether or not I think major pentatonic flat 3. Let's hear the sound of doing major pentatonic flat 3s over the verses, okay? It's not so bad, all right? That said, it doesn't have quite as much oomph as when you get those kinds of little like... Right? The one I wanted to share with you is this. That. So we're playing a little E chord, B chord, and then A chord. All right. Well, I'll try to play. I'll see if I can nail that. Okay. About the B chord, because that's where you can probably create the most momentum to slingshot you back into your next round of solos, because you're definitely getting more than one pass through if you've got any juice. Okay, so the builds that I like to use, okay, are the kind that do like the bump punch, da ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da da, triplet 1, triplet 2, triplet 3. So that's, but usually it'll start on the 1, triplet 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 1. That would be something like that. Okay, so how do we play that? We start in the B note. Okay. You mean those diminished chords from 10 minutes ago? Yeah, that's true. That's true. It does have some of the same little picking patterns of the... That kind of... What is it? All that stuff. So when you get the kind of... They're all using that same picking pattern. All right, it's a big big time pattern for me. I don't think he uses the pull off. I think he picks every one. I don't like the sound of the picking so much. It's a little too much in my eardrum. Anyway, back to the Scarlet builds, okay? Or wherever the B7 sound, or a B, right? So whatever we want to do, we're going to be looking at kind of marching up to each chord tone. Bum, 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 bum. So that's 1, 2, flat 3, 3, 5. Right? Now we've got two options. We can walk the 5 up to the flat 7. Right? Then walk the 6 up to the root. And then come to, right? And then again, sorry, that would be, yeah, so. Like that. Or we can go and then go 5, sharp 5, 6, root. And that sounds like this, which is really cool. Or, okay, one brings us up through the roots and the other brings us up through the third, right? Or, see how they bring us up to different points within the arpeggio? One brings us to this root and the other brings us to that. All right, so depending on which one you start with, you know, you're going to ascend quicker through the notes. If you want to take more time, all right, I had to kind of fake that there. I should have started on the 6 and gone, and then, okay, so that's the ascending off the root idea. All right, there's also coming down. So like finding some sort of E major scale shape and coming back down through it. Okay, so if we're doing, let's talk about building areas out of this chord that I'd like to talk about it like a B chord up here at the 14th and 16th frets, right? And we can get these kinds of, right? And sometimes we'll use triplets. For those descendings, shift positions rather than going up and down one. Absolutely, yeah. So I'm going. Like that kind of thing. That's not like a, I don't know everything that I'm doing, but I tend to use more of the horizontal nature of the guitar than Garcia does. He's more of a stripes guy and I'm more of a horizons guy. He's more of, you know, more of a vertical player. So you could have gone. Instead of something akin to that. That was more playing like the stripe style. The main reason why I do that, I'm convinced, is that I always prefer to be in this area of the neck than further up, A. And B, the guitar that I play most often tends to sound uneven on the wound strings. If anybody wants to take a listen to this, it has a very jazzy kind of hollow body sound to it, right? But once you get up onto the plain strings, it's much more strident and bright, and even more so on the B string. So we've got, these are all would be marked as the same on the staff, right? So open string, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 of the same note, right? On the guitar, there's 5 E's. And so I tend to want to get into the area where I'm staying on the B and G and E strings more. So consequently, I come down more often than like this, okay? So I tend to want to get into bigger frets with more options and kind of the sweeter sound on my instrument. I think it sounds best on the G and E strings from about here to here. It's a nice big sweet spot, but you know, Garcia had a much heavier instrument with probably a more even response because it's maybe, you know, all the heft and like, you know, it's solid body. You know, this is, you know, gonna have that smoky kind of the darker smoky sound to it. All right, so for the descendings, yes. All right, so assuming that was the descending you're talking about, the other type of descending sound is this. Out of that B chord I was talking about, the 14th and 16th fret, I'm starting on the flat 7th here, this A note with my pinky. Sometimes this. I might pivot to the 6th with my ring. So those are each getting one of those pivots. But along the way, I'm going to go. Gets a little bluesy in there. Okay, so the scaly one, this one. That kind of thing, right? Not this. They're both descending things. So anyway, either way, I'm going to give you both of them. So hang in there, Alex and Alexander, and I'll show you. So this is going to be, we're going to like that. Okay, so that's getting into the 3rd of that B. All right, so you can also hear something like that, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, something like that. Okay, so there's a shit ton of triplets there over that build, but so definitely will not play that properly as I approach that building over the B chord out of there, but we'll try it anyway, okay? To do some figuring things out if you want to get a really fancy, like showy line like that. No denying that it's probably a little easier for me because it's just the same idea, kind of brought string by string by string. All right, hit me with that Peggio solo. Still working on it. I don't have, by the way, I don't have my work usually like dead to rights memorized 3-4 years after posting it. It's usually just something I come up with and then barf it out real fast and make sure it's documented. And if I need to go back and find good things, I'm basically just playing the melody with it. Something like that, right? anyway, I can't remember what I did. There's some pretty kind of involved things. The what is that? It's been a little while, so sorry to let you down, E, that I don't have everything I've ever done totally memorized, but I'm not trying to be a wise ass, but it's something like that, I think, probably, right? It is a good one, though. I think that's a nice way of learning how to add the melody and some guitar-y affectation to it, so don't get too hung up on that, all right? So listen, everybody, I'm going to duck out of here. I'm going to go upstairs. I hear my wife coming home from work, and we're going to go out and have some dinner before we take off. If any of my students are watching, don't forget, I'm not teaching for the next 3 weeks. I'm outie 5,000. All right? So much love and happiness to everybody. I hope everybody's having a decent summer, and try not to sweat too much and play guitar indoors. Stay hydrated, and I will see you guys in the fall for sure, okay? So absolutely, we'll have a great trip. And if anybody's in New York on the 27th of August, I'll be back by then. I'm having a gig, throwing a nice big part. There's a nice big gig down at Hill Country Live. It's a really nice place. It's a premier venue. It's a nice venue for the Dead stuff. It's on Tuesday night, so anybody in the city on Tuesday, come on down to Hill Country Live and check us out. If you haven't subscribed to my channel and you like what you're finding here, please do. And if you're interested in private lessons, obviously, hit me up. That is certainly a source of income and fun, disposable cash around here at the Divine Ranch. And once again, this is Jack Divine signing off from Brooklyn, saying thanks for tuning in to another episode of Office Hours on Jacksnax. All right, take care.